Good day, friends and family. This is Avril, your host here. Today we've got our session 2 on living on purpose, from freedom to direction. And yes, let's start today. I'm going to give you a heading as to say, finding your assignment. Now, I will give you 4 clues to finding your assignment, and I strongly believe when you stack one on the other, they will fill in like a cord, and then you will know, but this is what I'm supposed to do. So that is my heart's desire, that you can capture this and run with your purpose, because it's already within you, and it will be so simple at the end that you will think, wow, how could I not see this? But in any case, remember, our scriptures today will come from Exodus. You can go read them. Exodus 4 verse 2 and 2, which was when the Lord called Moses, and Moses had all these excuses that he is not equipped. So it was Exodus 4, and then it's the book of Nehemiah that we will extend a little bit in Nehemiah 1, verses 3 to 4. Very interesting. I love Nehemiah. And then the third one is Proverbs 18, verse 16. Now, to start with, when God called Moses, this is now in Exodus, Moses to deliver his people. Moses gave all the excuses, and isn't that sometimes what you and me do? When we are called, we say we're not equipped. You know, I was never a person for the cameras. People, I was a backstage girlie. You can give me everything behind the scenes. I would let them run, but never in front of cameras or on a stage. Lately, every time I just find myself there. They would either say, Avril, there's not somebody, the motivational speaker didn't turn up. This one, can you step in? Yes, I can. Things like that. Then I'm there on the stage where I was behind the scenes girlie. So sometimes the Lord, you will come up with all types of excuses, but the Lord put you in positions. Like I said with Moses. And the Lord just asked him one thing. The Lord asked Moses, what is that in your hand? Listen very carefully. I want to also challenge you as to say, what is in your hand that you can already do? And then Moses just said, it's a staff, it's a stick, it's a staff. And what Moses was walking through this entire, how many years, with that staff, that was the very thing that the Lord used later on to set his people free. It was not just a staff, it was a tool, it was equipment for his purpose. So those are the one of them. So today we're going to start, so welcome back, as we already said, to our session 2, Living on Purpose. And yesterday we finished a bit. I was set. Why were you set free? Remember the ship that drifted, but you're not drifting anymore. You were set free for, and you gave your purpose. So now today we're going to have the 4 clues, as I've already told you, and how you're going to adapt them. Clue 1 and clue 2. The burden and the hand. It's the easiest way. What do you have a burden for? What is burdening your heart when others laugh and mock about the things? You go lay at home at night, or you go home and you still think about that thing. That burdens you is most likely going to be your purpose. And what do you have in your hand? So ask yourself, sometimes it's an injustice that takes place, and you feel, man, if I had the money, if I had this, I will do that. Now that very thing. So I could remember for years people, or I always said, I will set the captives free. I love people that was the underdog, to help them, bring them up, and to know that life is a life of second opportunities, second chances. It's not where you start in life, it's where you're going to end in life. Because I always have the story about my father that was just a grade 6 dropout. He never even continued school. But he had this vision of giving us education, and all 5 his children, we are all educated people. We have degrees, we have 4, 5 years degrees, 6 years degrees, but that is how somebody that was just a grade 6 dropout knew that the future of his children should look better than his. So that is actually, and I was also there, that I thought for years, and there were things in my hand. I was a great speaker. If the Holy Spirit didn't awaken me as to say, but you're a speaker, you love teaching, teach the people, because I had this desire, I want to set people free. I want to say, your today is not going to look the same like tomorrow. Forget the past and look ahead. Those were always the things that I wanted to say. But in any case, until I find now I'm walking into my purpose. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. So next then we have is the clues. The two, one is what is in your hand? What is that stuff? Actually, it means what is it that is so nearby that you've looked past it? For years, what was so nearby was the voice. I had a great voice. I love to speak. I love to share information. It was so near, and also I'm a writer, I'm an author. And to sit with a pen or behind a laptop, that is things that I'm passionate for. So all that I do now for my purpose, you just merge the two together and you roll it out. You write what you want to say, you teach the things of the Bible, and you speak. That's what I do. It's not even effort, it just comes naturally. So Moses had in his hand a staff that he just thought it was a staff, but it led an entire nation to freedom. So maybe what is in your hand, what is it that you have that can lead your entire family out of that cycle of year in, year out in the same direction, maybe poverty striken, or to better heights? What is it? There is something. None of us were created without purpose. Now our clue 3 and our clue 4 is the fruit and the witnesses. Now, if we look at fruit, is what achievements did you already achieve behind the scenes that nobody knows of? Your victories, your wins. It's those things. You know how many people I helped to get into promotion jobs and land the jobs because I coached them. So that's one of my things, and nobody knows about them. But now that I can get up and get out here, I can recall all those things because they were fruit. If we look at David, let me read you on David. It's here in 1 Samuel. Let me just see. Where is that? So it's actually when he spoke to Saul in verse 34. It's Samuel 17, verse 34. But David said to Saul, your servant has been helping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it and struck it and rescued the sheep from its mouth. Now just think of what David did. I mean, a lion, to go after a lion with a stick or a spear and just struck it so that he can get his sheep back. That was the warrior that he was already behind the scenes when nobody saw, but it was evidence there. I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and I killed it. I mean, a bear and a lion. So your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them. So his track record already showed him, if you can kill a lion, which is the king of the giant, and a bear that's so great and big, and that was man. Okay, it was a giant, but it was man. So he just came and he felt in his heart, but I can do this, because he had a track record of things that he was familiar with. So so the private victories of yours, what are those private victories? I want you to pay very close attention to 1, 2, 3, and 4, the clues that is there. Write them down. Then the witnesses. The witnesses will always be what people will say. People would always say to me, Avril, when I'm finished with you, I feel so light, I feel so empowered. It feels like the mountain that I've just seen is just this small. Or you always have such good advice to me. Those were the witnesses, not the naysayers. Now forget about the naysayers. The naysayers I just cut off there. I don't even pay attention to what they say. I don't even repeat what they've said. I just ignore them, because if they do not have a good track record of something, why should I listen to them? Ne? So I would listen to that advice. So that witnesses, what is the witnesses saying about you? When nobody even knows your name, the witnesses will tell you, you're a very good speaker. You must go. You're a very good author. You must write this and this. They sometimes give you cues of what you're supposed to do, how to get to your destiny. So let's go again. The fourth was this, as I already said. Those are the trustworthy people. You can trust them. Like sometimes a pastor or a mother, father, somebody very near to you, uncle and an aunt. Speak into their lives. It was not like during the week or sometime back when my sister's daughter, she was a dress designer in Paris, and she had a challenge with her sewing machine, and the stitches didn't want to work, and everything that could go wrong went wrong. And she was so frustrated because I was just sitting there mostly giving moral support, and later on she said, I don't know even if this thing, are you excited it's coming together? She said, no, I will only be excited when the thing is done. And I said, but I have faith in you. I trust in you. I know that you can. I know that it will, anything that touches and comes through your hand will never be a flop. Then she looked at me, really, Auntie? I said, yes, that's what Auntie. So when the mom came and the mom said, maybe you prayed and she prayed. I said, I didn't pray anything. I just knew she can. So sometimes the witness will just know, even though you're insecure and you're uncertain about yourself, the witness, which is a solid witness, will know, man, you need to better, to do more than this. It's the same I sometimes tell my daughter, I know you can. You are way better, more, and go for the more, go for that extra, go. So the witness must always be the one. It's your cheerleader, your chairman. They're cheering you up, go, go, go. They will never, and if they say something, it will be more correcting you, directing you straight on that path again so that you can go. So, yeah. But one thing is, don't let other people's lies defile your life. Even if they said so, then you tell yourself, I'm going to better on this. But don't let those words keep you stuck. So, those that the witnesses say is just confirmation on what you have. So, what's my burden? My burden, as I already say, I'm watching people living sometimes too small to the capacity that they have, that the Lord put in there. He didn't just make you small. I sometimes say, your purpose in life is so big, if the dream cannot scare you, it's no dream at all. So your purpose must be that you see yourself so far, so big, wherever, that you think, oh, it can only be the Lord that can take you there. So with the in-speaking of the Holy Spirit, you can get to there. So yeah, so as I told you, when I look what was in my hand, it was my talking, and I can explain well what was the fruit that I've already had. It was people that always listen to me or come to me for answers, those behind the scenes moment. Who was my witnesses? Those that said, you can, I see this and this in you. So good witnesses, and all together when I stack and pile them one on the other, they made they fit in to one another like a puzzle. And then I just started, okay, you're a great speaker, you can write, you can watch, you love setting the captives free, setting people free, tell them that life is a life of second chances. So with that in mind, I could start this podcast series that I'm currently with. So the 4 clues, it's not that you didn't have a purpose. Those clues were always there. It was just that sometimes we are purpose blind, which means you see all those things, you have all those things, but it's just somebody that should tell you, hey man, get up, just do. Doesn't matter how it starts, just start, just begin. And that ends, actually today's session is very short but brief, so I would love you to write those, to draw like 4 columns. You've got homework. Every day I'll give you a little bit of homework. Write your 4 homework and mark, because this purpose will be the X when all those 4 things that I gave you, the clues, when they slot in one another, they will lead to that X on your treasure map. And then you will say, wow, it's here. That was my light bulb moment when I realized, when I put all those things together and I got to where I'm currently. This is just the beginning. This is just a stepping stone. This is not where I'm going to end. We will all end greater than we were today in our future, because we're on track. But the only thing, as I said, we must run this race with endurance. You don't stop. On Thursday, I told my group that was here, my small group, I said, you know what? I came to the realization, I saw this stadium, because it was now Soccer World Cup, and the people cheering and cheering for their teams, and they the spectators. I said, no man, I want to be a player in that game. They must cheer me, not I them. And if I cheer, but then I must still be on the move. I take a time out. Okay, let's cheer somebody else, but let me now again go so that others can start cheering me. Because you in a race, you must just be on the move. Never stop, because faith without action is just a dream. Yeah, so your purpose isn't hiding from you. It's hiding in you. Everything is in you. It's already in you. They just disguise as familiar. They are too familiar for us sometimes to see it. But because I mention it now, I think now you will sit and you will think. So it will be the burden that you carry, the stuff that's in your hand, the fruit when nobody sees that is coming behind you, and the witnesses around you. What did they say? They are all pointing to the same spot for years. So now I would love you to take that up. So your application and exercise for today is that when we meet tomorrow with our other session, I would love you to take 4 columns that you're going, and then you're going to write your burden. What is burdening you? Just 1 or 2 things that burdens you. What is in your hand? What are you already good at? What can you use? Then you write that there. The fruit. What successful stories came out there? What fruit do you have that told you about this column 1, column 2, and this? And what does witnesses always say? Now, when you put those 4 together, they will align, and they will make the deck of cards to play with. That you say, okay, now I'm in my purpose. So it's actually, it's there, but it was hidden purpose. Ne? So tomorrow we're going to do what Habakkuk said we must do, that we must write the vision on the paper. And that is what we're going to do. Tomorrow's session will be excited, because then, I love Habakkuk and I love writing things down. And I've seen so many things come into fulfillment, especially when I write, because you tend to forget. And then when you think of something, I always say, I still said till yesterday, my daughter, write the things down. Why don't you just get the book right? Every morning you say thank you over those things. You have it in front of you. It's there. It must come to pass. So I cannot emphasize writing so much. I just say, man, I'm old school, but the writing still works. If it's in the word and the Bible said write them down, why should I not write them down? Let me write them down, because it's in due time that the runner goes and he runs and then he comes back. But that is then for tomorrow's session that we're going to do and focus on. So remember, Moses looked down and the answer was already in his hand, which was the staff. Nehemiah's wall was already, because remember when Nehemiah he was in tears, because you asked the people, how is it going? And they say, no, the walls are broken down, etc. And then, because he was just a cupbearer for the king, and then the king wanted to know why he feels like that. You can go read in Nehemiah. And then he released Nehemiah, and he released him with finances and all things, and say, okay, go restore the wall. But while on that wall, but that is for tomorrow's session, when you get into this purpose of yours, it won't always just go easy, because you will always be people that wants to distract you. So it was so smart, the vision that I got, to think that they built with one hand. How do you build with one hand? Put the built and put the stone, but in the other hand, there was a weapon. They had a sword in the one hand because they were under attack. But even with that, within 52 days, they complete. Do the Lord maybe have a purpose and a mission for you that can come in alignment within 52 days. We'll find that out tomorrow. Till then, goodbye. Have a great day. Love you. Please subscribe to my channel, Avril.